Hello, peoples of the internet. So, today I have Evie in the room holding some animal loving space. I have my plants back here. I have my minerals. I have my crystals that are throwing some rainbows today. As you can see behind me, it's bright and sunny. I was out connecting into the plant species and to the earth and to the minerals that are within my range. I have my Tunnels of Moose Jaw shirt on. Very Canadian. Gangsters. That's what we had in Canada. So you don't hear those stories much, but yeah, it's real. It happened. I had clients sharing those stories first, actually, before we went to Moose Jaw. And then, yeah, sure enough, we got some tunnels in Moose Jaw that are connected to the alcohol and to the gangsters of the USA. So that's intriguing. And it's definitely the dark triangle. It's trying to get up the dark triangle. So trying to get money the dark way. And it's very common to the slavery matrix. So there's lots of other things that are up the dark triangle too. So guns, sex slave, drugs, anything with like lying and manipulating and feeding off other people to get money is the dark triangle. And then we have the regular triangle where people, it's not a lot different, honestly. People stand on each other. They step on each other to get up it. And they do it to get power. And the power leads to money, and money leads to stuff. And in reality, it's not even real. It's not true. It is an illusion. And so, but today I'm not going to be talking about that. I'm just going off on a rant because that's what's coming up to me in this time period. But who knows? Every time I go off on a rant, I've learned to trust my rants and to trust therapy no matter where it goes, because it always goes where it's meant to go. You'll always see some sort of a completion come in. And yeah, I'm sure this is going to come all the way back around in the end. So what I was going to talk about is the energies that are coming up in this time period. So I particularly have noticed a lot of electrical stimulation of the body and in the air. So I don't know, in Canada, we've been getting some serious storms, and there's been a lot of electricity or lightning in those storms. And last week, I was away on a work trip, and we had gone to Esophagus, and there was a storm coming in, and someone was storm watching, and they had said by the time that it reached Canada, there had already been 2,000 lightnings. And I was like, oh, what? Like, is that even natural? It's wild. And that was sort of that first cue that something was happening in the electrical, internally electrically and externally electrically. So in the earth realm. And what I've been noticing, people telling me about experiences that are like people having heart attacks, and other issues happening with migraines or seizures. Even with Roscoe, he had been having seizures and he never had seizures before. And then multiple people were telling me their animals were having seizures. And then recently I've heard of humans having seizures. So, and then some children suffering as well from energies affecting their bodies, electrical energies within their bodies, neurological symptoms. And to me, that's electric. And within my own self, I've noticed sort of shooting pains in different parts of my bodies, particularly in my teeth, migrainal shooting pains, top of the head pain, pretty severe. Earlier today, I had a couple incidences of shooting pain in the neck. You know how like you turn your neck a certain way and you get that shooting pain, like something's being squished, something nervous system is being squished. And my daughter had told me the other day that, was it yesterday or the day before, that she was getting pain behind her right eye. And for me, well, migraines usually start that way. And I had migrainal pain on the weekend, which I was using the skills of scraping the skull and pulling the energy out and putting in the color that it was asking for, which there's a video on that if you're looking for a video. And I was subsiding the migraine pretty good. But I did take some Advil before I went to bed, because sometimes when I'm in a non-conscious state, the migraine can get worse because I can't do energy work on it. So, and I haven't taken painkiller in probably a year. So I was even surprised that I needed the Advil, but I wasn't going to take any chances. And luckily for me, the next day it was gone. But my daughter was having the same pressure behind the right eye, and she was asking me, Mom, what does that mean? And I was like, well, that sounds like migraine. And she was like, no, energetically, what does that mean? And energetically, because it's on the right side of the body, that's the masculine side, and the eye is like, what don't you want to see? Action that you don't want to see, something about action, taking action that you're not wanting to see. And we were thinking that that had something to do with her schoolwork that she's been procrastinating against. And when you think about procrastination, it's a pressure. So you're putting a pressure on yourself to do something, but you're not doing it. So the pressure is building. And that's sort of the sense I'm getting of this time period, is that pressure is building, and we're getting, you know, if in a closed system, if you build up enough pressure, you'll start to get electricity. It starts to create electrical activity. And to me, it's like that's what's happening. The pressure is building, and it's building up electrical activity. And that's happening within the human and within our external environment. And I was talking to a client about that, and she said, well, what do you think that means for like what we're supposed to be learning? Like, what should we be doing? And what we discussed is what I'm about to discuss. And so you're going to remember that in my last video, I think it was in my last video, it was either my last video or two videos before, I was talking about a dream that I had, and that I was being taught in that dream to access my center of self, my 0 point, the God source connection, our soul connection, and to create a void space around the choice when you're about to make a choice, so that all of the, what is the word it used? All of the like static, it's a D word, distortion. That's the word. That's the word it used. So, and words have power. I'll do a video on that into the future as well. But yeah, words have power. Words are important. And so, so it was telling me that inside of the human body, we have a lot of distortion. And this distortion inside the human body are things like, oh, I can't do it. Oh, what if I fail? Oh, what if I get in trouble? Oh, what are people going to think about me? That's your internal distortion. And the God source was saying part of that distortion is our feeling states. So if you're really angry, annoyed, frustrated, agitated, that's going to be part of the distortion that's going to try to get your attention. And then you're going to react instead of actually giving yourself that space and asking from your center of self. So the external distortion is other people's thoughts. So what other people think. So if they're like, oh, how dare you? You can't do that. Or if you do that, you're a bad mother. Or if you do that, then you don't love me. Or if you do that, then you're an idiot, or whatever they're thinking. And so that's the external distortion that's going to try to get our attention when we're trying to make a choice. And if we allow our attention to go to this distortion, then you're going to actually go into fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So you're going to go into reaction mode. And reaction mode is going to bring you down a pathway of incompletion. It's going to bring you down a pathway of the slavery matrix and reaction. And you don't want to do that, because when we can't complete, so you're going to get halfway there. If we can't complete it, and how we complete it is we drop into ourself and we access love and safety and the 0 point, so that we can slow down enough to make a conscious choice instead of reacting. So when we slow down enough, we access our own truth, and then we're going to make a choice based off our truth, not based off the distortion, which is trying to get your attention. And so what I realized is that this is part of the subtle cues. So I've been talking about the last couple videos, these subtle cues that trigger the humans into old programs or old modes of functioning. And so we're being asked to get aware of the subtle cues so that we're not buying into them, so we're not playing into them. And so what we're being asked to do is to give ourselves permission to clear space around our choice, so that we can hear only ourself when we ask ourselves the choice, which is usually going to be something around the lines of like, what is right for me? What do I want to do here? What's in alignment with me and my pathway? What's going to bring me the greatest joy? Those are the questions you're going to want to be asking yourself when you're getting into that alignment, because that's what's going to guide you on your path first. And we're here to walk our path first. There's a wasp. It's actually one of those really weird skinny back wasps, which I don't ever remember seeing when we were children. And it's just coming around, which is the flying creature's energy, which tends to be, well, it's insect energy, but it's also the bees, wasps, bees energy, which has a certain frequency. And it also carries the frequency of the plant kingdom, because of that's what they feed from. So they feed from the center of the plants, of the flowers, and which is honey, how they create honey. So it's sort of that milk and honey energy. So I appreciate that energy. Thank you for your essence. And I'll try not to be weirded out by your very skinny back, because it's like, how do they even fly? Like, how do they survive without breaking their backs? So, yeah, that's where my mind goes. And I know this will come back around as well. So, yeah, how this does come back around, it connects to the back. So these healings, when we only go part of the way there, we can't actually fully, completely heal our bodies. And where a lot of this damages are happening are to our backs, like literally a broken back. You know, it's where we have degeneration of the spine, or bursting spine, or broken spine, spurs on the spine. All of these kinds of things are incompletion of thought processes, of choices, of ways of existing, and particularly of supporting your own self in your own truth, or even accessing your own truth, even finding your own truth. So the old way, and I would have talked about this last time as well, the old way is reacting from a pain space that's above the truth. And the pain space that's above the truth is the technique you're going to use there is blaming someone else or blaming yourself. And that's a way to control the situation or an environment. It's like trying to make sense of it with your head. You're going to blame someone else or blame the self. And the key is what you're bypassing is your own heart, your own feeling states, right? It's not about blaming. It's about how is this making me feel? How do I feel when this experience occurs? And then loving yourself in that state and saying, I'm safe even here. And at that point, you're going to drop down into the truth. And then the truth is going to tell you something that you need to know in that experience. And oftentimes it's going to tell you, like, this isn't even yours, right? It doesn't belong to you. You don't have to do anything, you know, just use it as information. It might tell you, set a boundary, say no, walk away. It might tell you, speak your truth here, right? It might tell you, tell the person the truth, point out the elephant in the room. It can tell you all kinds of things. And that's how we start to make conscious choices and conscious decisions. And when we make that conscious choice and that conscious decision from our centers of self, that's where we begin to do completion. And when we do completion, the body begins to heal itself. And so in this time period, what it was saying is that distortion. So if you watched a couple videos ago, I talked about a time of going to the restaurant for Mother's Day. And my mom was really mad because we were late. And when she was mad, I could feel her anger, her madness, being an empath. And I was toxically empathing her anger and annoyance and frustration, and feeling like it was my job to do something about it, because in the old ways of existing, we existed codependently, where we leaned into the other person to fix it for us instead of loving ourselves into wholeness and using our own infinite medicine from within and giving ourselves the love and safety and freedom that we were looking for. So I had said to myself in that experience, when I noticed that I started to elevate, I was starting to go into a false frenzy. I was going into a manic state and being like, how's everybody doing? I was dysregulating. And as I was doing that, I said to myself, whoa, stop, Lisa. Evie's snoring. She was stop, slow. She wants to give us some extra love here, right? So slow down, stop, check within. Right? You have a right to exist here. You have a right to find joy even here. You have a right to enjoy yourself. It's not your job to take care of other people. It's your job to enjoy your own existence, to be fully in your own existence, to enjoy yourself. And when I chose to regulate myself in that way, everybody at the table altered because they went off my regulation. And I didn't have to do the old way of elevating myself and then getting attacked and then them calming down because I got their anger out, instead of going down into themselves and loving themselves into wholeness. And so regulation worked. And what it was telling me about us going down into this state of, what do I want to do here? What is my choice? What's in alignment with me? What do I choose? You're going to want to do the same thing. So when the distortion, that internal distortion, our feelings, our thoughts, our ideas, that little broken self, that programmed self that's saying, you should do this, I'm not going to listen to any of it. I'm going to know it's there because we're alive. We're living. Our body's alive and our body's living. So there's a lot of activity within my body, and there's a lot of activity in the external realm. There's a lot of life going on. And just because life's going on doesn't mean that I can't give myself permission not to attend to it. I don't have to focus on it. I don't have to give it my attention. And when I don't give it my attention and I choose to focus on my own truth first and accessing my own answer, then that distortion won't pull me out of myself, and I'll actually make a brand new novel choice from my own self. And this is our way out of the slavery matrix. This is our way to the golden pathway. This is our way to a new world. And only we can get ourselves there by freeing our own selves first, by beginning to collapse the programs of the subtle cues, and by loving ourselves into wholeness, and by giving ourselves permissions not to do it. So when I was doing this healing with someone, I was feeling down into the body. And when I was feeling down into the body, it was saying, this is a spleen and stomach healing as well. And I was like, spleen and stomach. Well, that's interesting, because spleen, which is another video I'll do into the future on the parts of the body. So different parts of our body communicate different things to us. So they hold old programs. Organs, well, actually all parts of the body, really. The organs, the glands, the brain, the spine. The spine generally holds pain and trauma and frozen memories from us and from our ancestors, and even from the soul that came into the body at the time of birth. As the body solidifies into form, it holds the information, knowledge, wisdom that we're here to heal, the lessons, really. And it holds the past ancestors' lessons in there as well, and our past lifetimes. So that's the work that we're here to do. If you're here to clear yourself, and if you're watching my videos, you're obviously here to clear yourself. You're a breaker of chains. You're here to break chains and do it in a new way. You're here to slow down and to access the feminine, the love, the compassion. You're here to companion your own self first. You're here to access your truth, and from accessing your truth, act from alignment with your own soul. And when you're in alignment with your soul, you're in alignment with the universe, with the God source, because the God source is always going to guide you to not only what's right for you, but what's right for all. And so you can trust that. You can trust that space. You can trust those answers. Those are actually the only answers you can trust. In the old way, we were taught to get the information from the external realm, right? Through the data keeper, like the brain held the information, and it came from like what worked in the past and what didn't work in the past. And there was a lot of fear programming involved with those choices. And that's why we're freeing the ancestors of the past in this day. In the present times, we're freeing the old ancestors, because they're wanting us to act in alignment with the fear programs and with what they learned from their head. But we're not making choices from our head. We're making choices from our center of self, from our sacred heart, from our aligned self, from our 0 point, from our center point of reference, from the nucleus. Those are all words for the same space inside the human being. It's our connection point to our soul. And when you make choices from that space, you can trust them, because they're already in alignment. And you're the only one that has your choices. You're the only one that has the answers to the choices, right? And so why is the spleen and the stomach involved? So in the spleen holds the program of not fair. This isn't fair, right? That's the old program that's in the spleen. And that program triggers the stomach. So if we think this isn't fair, so it's going to be judgment, like, that's not fair that I can't make this choice. That's not fair that I can't do the thing I want to do. That's not fair that, that somebody ripped me off. Whatever it is that's not fair. Right? That's not fair that they're not helping me clean the house, right? That's not fair. That's the spleen. And then the spleen triggers the stomach, and it triggers the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses of the human being, which are part of separation consciousness, because they're part of the old programs, the record players, the ways we did it in the past. And so you're immediately going to react into one of those modes of functioning, instead of slowing down enough to love yourself into wholeness, to heal whatever just got wounded, and to make a conscious choice from your center point of reference. So in this time period, when we play into that old program, the spleen gets triggered, the stomach gets triggered, and it's part of electricity, it's part of fire. That's what it was telling me. So it's like when you heartburn, that's what they call it, when the stomach begins to produce so much bile, right? So when when you think this isn't fair and you start to go into fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, you're going to overcreate bile, and that bile is going to burn your stomach, and it's going to create heartburn. And the heartburn and the burning of the stomach is actually coming from a stressing program. And so the stressing program comes up when we can't access our truth. So when I get stuck in blame out, blame in, and I'm beating myself up and I'm not healing myself, or I get stuck in hearing all of the disturbance around me, all of the distortion, and I give it my attention, and then it pulls me into that choice, that's going to create stressing. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. What should I do? Oh my God, what should I do? I don't want to fail. I don't want to do a bad job. I don't want to let people down. Those are the things that triggers the stomach, that triggers that burning of the stomach, burn guts, right? Stomach aches. Some people are going to puke it out. Some people are going to poop it out. Right? It's going to create a disorder or a chaos within the body. And so our job is to love ourselves into wholeness before it gets to that state. And what the God Source was saying to me is, but Lisa, the humans aren't used to making choices. So why was my daughter procrastinating her schoolwork? Well, she was procrastinating her schoolwork because she didn't know how to make a choice for herself to just study, right? She didn't know how to make a choice to put her own self first and to study. So instead, she waited in that state of, I don't know what to do, until the pressure built and the pressure built until the pressure pushes you forward, not a conscious choice. And this is part of why we don't own the choices we make. We're pressured to do it, and we made a choice out of reaction or out of forced movement. We forced ourselves to make a choice, so we don't own the choices. And they really aren't made from our truth. They're made from reaction. They're made from the programming of the slavery matrix. They're made from that record player of what other people did in the past. We're literally living a life that isn't ours. And this is why a lot of people get lost. I was lost a few years ago. I was like, who the hell? Whose life is this? This isn't my life. This isn't what I want for my life. Why am I living this life? How did I get here? Right? Like part of that, I remember at that time period, I was looking in my closet and I was like, I hate all this clothes. I hate every piece of clothes in here. Like, how do I have all of this clothes? I don't even like this clothes. Well, what happened when I went to make the choice of do I buy the clothes is I got caught in the distortion, the internal distortion. Oh, I don't have enough money. I shouldn't spend money on that. I should just buy the cheapest thing. Is it on sale? If it's on sale, I'm going to buy it. And then I got trapped in the external distortion. And the external distortion was like, oh, how dare you buy that? Or that's not cool. You know, people will judge you if you wear that. Or that's not professional. And remember, we were talking about professional a couple videos ago, and the old idea of what's professional is a male-centric wound. Unless the male thinks you're sexy or thinks you're attractive, you're not professional. And what's professional clothes? Blouses and tight pants and, you know, like pencil skirts and high heels? What? I don't think so, friend. I'm just as professional in my gangster shirt because I don't change. I'm the same human being. I still have a master's degree. You know, I still have all my information, knowledge, and wisdom. I still have 6 senses. I'm the same person. It doesn't change who we are. That's an illusion. That's a lie of the slavery matrix. It's also part of materialism and capitalism. And that's what was in my closet. The stuff I should wear, get in the box, stay nailed to the cross. You can only have one position. You can move your head only. Dress like everybody else. Buy the cheapest shit out there, right? Definitely materialism, you know? Not what do you want? What do you like? Now I gotta fix my bangs. Mostly because I like balance. I'm an artist, so I like things balanced. And balance is fine, and artistry is fine. And if you want to wear that because it's part of your uniqueness, like, look, I have these sparkly red glasses on. Can you see them? People call them Minnie Mouse glasses. People like to tease me about them. I love them. I love them. I love sparkly things. I have a bird eye. I like big glasses. I like bright colors. That's who I am. And people are going to try to make me feel shame and guilt so that I don't do these things, so that I act how they want me to act instead of how I want to act, instead of accessing my own truth and loving myself into wholeness and dropping into my truth that says this isn't even yours. You have a right to be yourself. Be yourself. And if they don't like it, who cares? You have the medicine inside. That's their thing, not yours. You don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to fix it, save it, heal it. You don't have to talk yourself into anything, right? You don't have to buy that terrible clothes in your closet. You can buy what you want. What's going to feed your soul? What makes you happy? Not the distortion inside myself, which is a programmed self, or the distortion outside myself, right? But my actual truth. And I don't have to be like, oh my God, can I afford it? Oh my God, can I? Can't I? Are people going to judge me? Are they going to hate this red glasses? We've been taught not to make our own choices. Since we were children, we were controlled. Our parents controlled us. They told us what choices to make. Culture and society and magazines and movies and TV. It's a giant commercial. It tells you how to be, who to be, what to buy, what to wear, what kind of car to have, to smoke cigarettes or cigars, drink liquor, to be, if you're rich, if you're really somebody. What? That's insanity. That's insane. It's not true. It's not real. They're illusions. And we can buy into them or we can not buy into them. And we can listen to our own truth and be guided by our own truth first. Or we can go into that stress state. And if we go into that stress state, I don't know what to do. Oh my God. Then my belly's going to start on fire. I'm going to get heartburn. I'm going to get diarrhea. I'm going to get cramping. I'm going to get IBS over time. Or I'm going to get other chronic sicknesses. I'm going to get ulcers. We're going to pay the price. My body's going to pay the price for not loving myself into wholeness and for not giving myself the right to make my choices, my own choices. I don't need somebody else to tell me what choice to make. I need to listen to my own self. I need to create a void around my center of self, around my choice, where there's nothing but silence so that I can only hear me. And only I can give myself that permission. Only I can give myself the permission to hear my truth, to only hear my truth purely, clearly. And only I can give myself the right to support myself in my truth. And when I was thinking about this, and because I don't have a lot of experience making my own choices in the past either. In the last 5-6 years, as I've really been doing this work, I've been trying to make choices from my own center of self. And a lot of the time I've been distracted by the distortion. So it's my daughter procrastinates because I procrastinate. And she doesn't know how to make choices because I don't know how to make choices. That's called the punch. Ow. Yeah, that's true. Ouch. Mm-hmm. And then we clear it. We heal it. It's okay, Lisa. It's all right. That's a program. You've been taught this by culture and society. You're learning over time. At least you're awakening. At least you're paying attention. At least you're giving yourself choices now. At least you're giving your children choices now. And my children don't always love it when I give them choices. I'm like, for God's sake, make a choice. I'm so tired of making all the choices. Just make a choice. And they're like, I don't know how. It's okay. This is this time period, right? And all of that creates this pressure and this electricity, right? That we're feeling in our bodies, in our teeth, in our spines, in our brains. Some people are feeling it in their lower extremities. I've heard a lot of people saying they're feeling it in their calves and in their knees. I was definitely feeling it in my back, in my lower back. I was feeling it in my neck, my teeth. My daughter was feeling it in her eye. I was feeling it in my eye a couple days ago. Upper headaches on the top of the head. It's the pressure. There's major pressure systems moving through, and we're also in a time period of putting a lot of pressure on ourselves, and the universe is putting pressure on us. It's saying, take the step, make the choice, support yourself in your own choice. Take one step and another step will show. You can't journey if you're not walking. Take a step. Don't be afraid. You got this. I love you, right? And it was telling me earlier today about loving yourself enough to give yourself the right to take your choice, like to have your own choice, you know, to align with your choice. What was it telling me about that? Jeez, now I'm blanking right the heck out. Well, that's the other thing that's happening in this time period. So that's electrical, right? My brain's not working properly, right? And the other thing that's happening is phones. So I notice cycles of this, and the phones are not working properly. Other people are telling me the computers aren't working properly, right? That they're jamming up, like the TV is not working, like they tried changing the remote and doing a million things and it's not working. I was doing the same thing with my computer. The same thing was happening with my phone all day. I was trying to do phone therapy, and the phone kept cutting out and I couldn't hear people, and then it was hanging up. And these things happen in cycles. So that tells me there's a lot of energy in the air. There's a lot of electricity in the air. We're being asked to move. We're being asked to take a step forward. That's the thing that I was going to say. That the God source is saying, it's not as serious as you think it is, Lisa. So I'm moving back into my house. As I'm moving back into my house, this time I'm trying to decorate in a new way. I'm trying to decorate how I want to decorate. And I think I was just doing whatever last time because I thought I'm only going to be here 5 years. I didn't want to move into a condo. I'm in a condo. I didn't want to move into a condo. I wanted to move into a house. I had a plan. My plan was to move into a house. I tried for the past 10 months to sell my condo and get into a house, and it didn't happen. And at some point it was like gambling. You know, I was like gambling every month, like, am I going to move? Am I going to get into a condo? But because of all of the chaos in the world right now, because of the Trump tariffs, because of the war, all of that stuff is making the people uneasy. And there's a lot of people selling and not very many people buying. And so I was trying to create it. I was trying to force it in the universe. I was like, come on, God, like, do this, right? And it didn't happen. Why? Because it was never going to happen. What unfolds is what was always going to unfold. And so this was always going to unfold. So I was meant to go out and come back in. I needed the lessons of it. And when I came back in a brand new way. So I did have to grieve that I wasn't going to move to a house. I was looking at houses. My plan 5 years ago was to live here for 5 years and then move into a house where I would have a yard. I have dogs and pets, and I love plants and planting and gardens and all of that. And I'm not going to have that. So I had to grieve that. And as I grieved it and let it go, because I was never even actually going to have it, so I was grieving a dream. And the God source told me at one point in time, don't have dreams. Dreams are, it's like so specific, and it bypasses your ability to receive what's in front of you, right? So when you're looking for this thing over here, but I have the dream, it's supposed to be the dream, only the dream, then you feel helpless and hopeless and ripped off and not fair of the spleen, which triggers the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, and the stress and the worry, and then the blame comes up there. It's my fault. I'm not a good manifester. Oh, it's the world's fault, right? No, what's underneath of that? Sad. I feel sad and I'm grieving, and it's okay to grieve, and it's okay to feel sad, and it's okay to let go of this, and it's okay to move back in. If you're going to move back in, how can you make it fun? How can you enjoy it? There's still a lot to be gratuitous for. I still have a place to live. I still have a house. I still have things that I can do here, right? And if I'm meant to still be here in this area, then that's okay. I'm willing to accept that, and I'm willing to shine my light here, and I'm really willing to feed my part of earth with my own frequencies. So when I moved back in, I've been looking for a couch, and I had to get rid of my couch when I left, and I've been looking for one, and I'm a researcher. So the first 2 couches didn't work out. So I ordered the first couch, and it didn't come. It didn't show up. So then we looked for a second couch, and I found a wicked deal, but it turns out that it was probably an error, and so they wouldn't send the couch. And so I was like, man, I was like so excited. I thought, oh, the first thing happened, so I could get this good deal. And then recently I've been looking for the couch the third time. Third time's a charm is what they say. And the couches I was looking at were different. So I was like, well, that's so weird. They like the couches I was first thinking, the couches I'm looking at now, they're all different, right? And I was researching, which is the best one? Which is the best one? I don't want to make an error. I don't want to fail. I was getting caught in the shh sound all around me, right? Inside my body, the living parts of me that were telling me there's one right way. There's got to be one right couch. And God was laughing at me. And it was saying, there's no right couch, Lisa. It told me at one point in time that the golden pathway, it was saying, look at the golden pathway, Lisa. How many stones are in this golden pathway? And I could see, like in the Wizard of Oz, literally it's a pathway. And in the Wizard of Oz even, how wide is that path? I mean, 4 of them, at least 4 of them fit on that path, right? So I'm like, I don't know, maybe 30 stones? And the Godster said, yeah, exactly. There's 30 pathways. There's 30 choices. There's 30 ways to still be on the golden pathway. There's 30 options. It's not just one. There's not one stone they're walking on, right? There's 30. Like, calm down. It's not so serious, right? You can pick a couch and enjoy the couch. There isn't just one couch. Instead, clear the debris, clear the sound, right? And drop down into your truth. And what does your truth say? Which one will bring you joy? What's going to bring you happiness? And I'm like that when it gets to choices. I'm like, oh my God, too many choices, like 30 choices. I can't get it down. Like, look at my videos. Look how long they are. My son's like, you can't do videos as long, right? Well, I don't know how to summarize. I'm not good at that. That's not who I am. I'm going to go this way and that way and this way and that way and pull the whole big picture together, right? And that's what I was doing with the couch. And eventually I just said, no, this one's going to bring me joy. I'm going to get joy from this couch. And I would have gotten joy from all 5 of the damn couches. Like, truly, I could enjoy all of them. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Making choices is supposed to be fun. Journeying is supposed to be fun. Taking a step and then looking around and exploring and then taking another step and exploring. It's supposed to be fun, Lisa. And that's a question I asked God a long time ago, 5-6 years ago. Does it have to be this hard? God said, no, it doesn't have to be this hard. And I was like, oh, well then show me how. And here I am today, still learning how, to make it not so hard. It can be a lot more fun is what it said to me. And that's what I'm learning. I'm learning to live in a way that I have a more playful existence. I begin to enjoy myself more. I'm not taking on everybody else's stuff. And that's the other thing about this time period. And I do want to mention this before I do a healing. That I notice there's a lot of people that are coming to me. There's a lot of people coming to me and saying, Lisa, help, help, help. Like, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on. Medical emergencies, things are happening with their bodies, loved ones crossing over, people dying, pets dying. What is happening? They're just saying, help, 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 right? And what can I do? I'm one human being, right? I can go into the stress program. This isn't fair. Oh my God, what do? I need to stress. Or I can drop into the state of my own emotion. And what's my emotion saying? My emotion saying, I'm sad. I'm sad for them. You know, they're going through something difficult. This is a tough experience. You know, and I believe in you. And I know you're going to figure this out. And I know you're going to get through this. And I can give my support in that way, but I'm not going to tell you everything's going to be okay, because I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if everything's going to be okay. You know, there is a saying that everything is okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end, right? But I'm not going to tell you everything's going to be okay, but I am going to tell you you're going to make it through. You're going to figure it out. You're going to find the pathway through. I believe in you. Only you can find your way through this. And I can hold loving space for you as you do that, but I can't save you from this. This is your pathway. Just like no one else can save me from mine. It's my pathway, and I'm the only one that can help myself through it. I'm the only one that can access my feeling states and alchemize them, and then love myself into wholeness, and then hear the truth and take action. You know, I'm the only one that can do that completion for myself. Just like they're the only ones. But I can send healing codes. I can call my helpers to talk to their helpers and help their helpers. I can magnify the healings that they're already doing. You know, I can send love and comfort. I can do those things, but then it has to be enough. And that's part of this time period. We're going to be asked to give ourselves permissions to be regulated, even when everything else isn't. So even when all of this stuff is happening around me, I have a right to stay regulated. I have a right to enjoy my existence. I have a right to stay peaceful and in a state of love. And it's not my job to fix, save, and heal everybody. It's like somebody had said, I was talking to a client, and we were talking about, like, in this time period when somebody doesn't listen to you, when they don't listen to what you told them, and it could be your child or it could be somebody you know, and then something bad happens, or they go through their lessons, right? It's not really something bad. It's just that they're going to go through a lesson, right? And when those things happen, we're just being asked to hold loving space in ourselves, you know, to let life unfold. People don't have to listen to me. And if something happens, it's like, drop underneath of that, Lisa, right? What does it feel like when people don't listen and things happen? That's the part that needs my love. I love myself even there. I'm whole even there. And then the truth and then I drop into the truth, and the truth says it's not even yours. They're going through a lesson. They're going through their own teachings. They're going through expansions. They're going through something that life was always going to unfold in front of them. And it's okay. That's what happens to humans. You don't have to fix, save, or heal it. You just have to love yourself into wholeness, and then hold loving space for yourself first, and then for the others. And give yourself permission to be regulated even when everything else isn't. And that's what this whole teaching's about. That's what not being pulled into the subtle cues is all about. And it's not because you don't have compassion for people and what they're going through. I do have compassion for people and what they're going through. But if I give too much to everything, if I buy into the distortion and I start to react from fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, and then my stomach gets affected, and then everything else, and I go into stress programs, and then my heart pays a price, then I'm not here to help, because I'm not here. It'll break me. It'll break my body. And I can't do that. But what I can do is hold loving space for me, and then hold loving space for them. Hold regulation for them. Do prayers for them. Believe in them. Believe that they're going to find their way through it. Because I can't save them from it anyways. They're already in it. They need to regulate their own self through it. Right? Okay, I think that's it. So here we go. I'm going to do a healing on all of this. So Source God Mother, I acknowledge and accept everything that we're speaking of so far today, and recognizing that there's this mass electricity in the air. It's literally in the air. It's in the sky, right? But it's also inside of us. It's like pressure's building, and we're being asked to take action. We're being asked to access our own truth and to take action from our truth. And some of those actions might be just loving ourselves into wholeness, doing the completion, right? Love yourself into wholeness, alchemize yourself, stay regulated even when everything else isn't. You have a right to stay regulated even here. You have a right to access your truth even here. You have a right to access your own internal medicine even here. And that's love, infinite love of your soul to your human as it goes through these experiences. You have a right to your options and your choices even here. You have a right to make your own choices even here. You have a right to creative choices even here. You have a right to conscious choices even here. And I collapse those old programs, those old modes of functioning, those old ways of existing, the stress program and the distortion program that was trying to pull us into reaction instead of conscious action. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to feed that sickness anymore. It's darkness. It's the illusion. It's the first pain space of God, right? I don't want to feed it. I'm done. I want to feed my own body. I want to feed my own soul. I want to be in alignment. I choose the God source first. I choose my own self and my connection to the God source so that I can pull the God source through me. And when the God source comes through us, when we hold that loving space, miracles can happen. And it's not even me doing it. It's just me holding the door open so that the God source can come in here to its own space and create miracles. Yeah, I want that. Yeah, I want that magic. Yeah, I want to take part in that. Yes, I do. That's a yes. And that we clear the old programs and the old modes of functioning and the pain spaces and the traumas to the body, specifically the spleen and the stomach and the esophagus and the guts, right? I clear the programs from the spine, from the teeth, the ancestors are coming up, from the skull, from the eyeballs, things that we've seen that we didn't want to see, things that were preventing us from taking action, right? From the distortion. The distortion has a right to exist. It's life, living, right? But it doesn't mean I have to pay attention to it. It doesn't mean that I have to give it my attention. I need to give my own choice the attention. I need to give my own center point of reference the attention so that I can get clear answers and so that I can support the clear answers that I get, including unique existing, dressing uniquely, talking uniquely, sharing unique information, making unique choices. I have a right to that, and I give myself the right. I clear, cleanse, and heal those power programs, those modes of functioning, those ways of existing, those internal dynamics and external dynamics, those frozen pain spaces, those contract spines, barriers, those chords, C-O-R-D chords, so that we can awaken our chording, as in C-H-O-R-D, the music within, when we share sacred space. Yeah, I want that. Heck yeah. And as we talk about all the things that people are sharing with us in this time period, let's just send out prayers. Let's clear that from our mind, body, spirit, and souls, giving ourselves permissions to retain our regulation even here. And in our regulation, let's send out prayers. Prayers for love and comfort and solutions and healing and help from the angels and the ancestors and the elementals. And God, if you can clear our bodies of the overabundance of electricity, and while you clear us, clear the Mother Earth, that would be amazing and awesome as well. And if it's a necessity for us moving forward, then that's okay too. We are balancing the masculine side, the doing, the action. and making the choice. And we clear the programs, the fear programs, from making choices. Those were ingrained in us. They were part of codependency. They were part of power programs in our childhoods. They were part of being controlled. They were part of being oppressed. And we don't want to do that anymore. We clear that from our mind, body, spirits, and souls. And we clear the distortion. And we clear the static. We clear the focus on it. It has a right to exist. We're not going to clear it, but we are going to clear the focus on it. We're going to clear our right to create a void space, which is silence, around our choices, so that we can be in alignment when we make them, and so that we can support ourselves even there. And we take the pressure off ourselves. We don't want to do the old pressure program where we waited until we were pushed. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to learn to be comfortable with choices and to enjoy choices and to feel gratitude for being a living being who has free will and for the ability to make our choices, clearing the fear or the responsibility of making choices. And I was talking about this to someone the other day, and I said, responsibility isn't what you think it is. It isn't like taking care of everybody and it's your job. It's the ability to respond. Responsibility. The ability to respond. And if you're in alignment with your soul, you're always going to have that ability to respond. And that's the only part that's yours. And then you'll take a step and you'll have creativity and you'll have novel situations, and we will begin to enjoy stepping into the novel and experiencing the novel and going on the journey as we get used to making the choices, as we get used to giving ourselves permissions to make our own choices and to align with those choices and to be a unique being. And we clear the body, spirit, and soul, the old modes of functioning, the old ways of existing, past the DNA and RNA and into the God space of first creation. We clear the DNA and RNA, we disintegrate back to dust, the old DNA and RNA, and we initiate the new. And as we initiate the new DNA and RNA, we reconfigure for each unique blueprint. We clear, cleanse, and heal all drama, karma, trauma, pull out the dharma, neutralize, purify, clear, cleanse, and heal from the cellular, energetic, and magnetic structures, and from the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious minds, pulling all of that through to oneness, to wholeness, to peace, to truth, to love. They're just telling me about the essence and the honey and the bee and the flower. And they're saying that that's like a poultice. It's like a way to help ourselves in this time period is to kind of call in the poultices through your healing center, which is your connection to the universe, to the God source, and to the whole universe. And so pull in the poultices that your body needs to begin to heal itself. And also they're reminding me to push the energy through. So they're saying it's like zzz, like the wasp or the bee. It's like don't retain it in your body because it's going to create too much pressure and then electricity, right? It's saying let it flow through. Let it flow through. So they're also showing me that the distortion, let it flow through. You don't have to pay attention to it. It's out there. It's the living world. Don't worry about it. Let it flow through. So remember, opening up our hands and our feet, the portals on our hands and feet, and just imagining pushing out all that extra energy, all that extra frequency. Just letting it go and knowing that it clears itself in our egg. So it circulates in the egg and then it comes back into you. So there's no wasting of it. It's just clearing itself and it's allowing the body to be purified. So yeah, we want that. Yes, we do. So we clear, cleanse, and heal all drama, karma, trauma, pull out the dharma, neutralize, purify, clear, cleanse, and heal from the cellular, energetic, and magnetic structures and from the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious minds, pulling all of that through to oneness, to wholeness, to peace, to truth, to love. Welcoming those helper beings and helper frequencies into these spaces to continue to help us to access these spaces and to utilize them in those good ways as we move forward, and just to alchemize the feeling around this space, because I can feel it. It causes like a nausea inside of me as I'm accessing these spaces, because it's that far out. It's that expanded from our present existing, and that's normal to feel. It's part of a human expanding, and it's okay for us to traverse into these spaces. It's okay okay for us to turn the light on and to access these spaces and to utilize them in those good ways as we move forward. And just normalizing and neutralizing these experiences for the human being. Releasing through the children and up through the ancestral webs, past lifetimes and their webs, and for the collective universal who are open to it at this time, including all planetary systems and on all sides of the veil, including this universe and the multiverses. We quantum forgive, bypassing our own feeling states, bypassing our bodies, playing into the program of repetition and of those records of the past history, of reactions versus conscious action, and bypassing our own creativity and our own uniquenesses, because we need our uniquenesses. We're all here to play a role, and all of our own ways of existing, our ways of seeing, our ways of choosing, our gifts and abilities are all needed and necessary in the whole. So it isn't a triangle, it's a circle. And in the circle, everything's needed. Everything's part of the whole. And we're all part of the symphony of the whole. We're all meant to CHORD, chord together, as in playing music together. And God, please help us with that. And please help us to remember that. And please forgive us for the stagnation of the humans and of our bodies and of the past and of our relationships and of our abilities to make choices and our abilities to act in our own best and highest well-beings and of our procrastination. So while collapsing the stress program, if we can collapse the procrastination programs, that would be amazing. We would love that. And I can actually feel that clearing from our stomachs. So there was a healing I did a long time ago where we were clearing the stomach, and as we were clearing some debris or trauma or old programs from the stomach, I could feel my belly sort of just relaxing, and the God Source called that the Buddha belly. So why is Buddha's belly like that? Because he's relaxing his belly, because he's circulating energy, because he's in a fully relaxed state, and relaxation and circulation are part of health and wellness and healing and joy, apparently, because the Buddha is, joyful. So I can feel that as we do these clearings. I can feel the belly being cleared and relaxing and joyful that we're clearing these old programs from the spleen and the belly and the heartburn and the stress programs of the past. And so we forgive that we didn't know any different or any better. We know not what we don't do or what we do. We don't always know what we're doing until we know. And now we choose to make conscious choices to do better. And we purify back to the God Source origins, welcoming those collective healed helpers, those beings of light, those doctors, healers, and nurses in all realms of existence to continue to purify and alchemize these spaces and drop us into those original blueprints, those original codes, and to continue the healings until completed. They're telling me about like gangsters and stuff like that, and they're saying that a lot of their hearts were in the right place. Like they were doing it for family. They were doing it because they loved their family. They thought the growth and, owning money, having money was kind of part of being a real man and about providing for the family and about tough and being tough and all of these things. And they're saying that that's like, forgive them for they knew not what they were doing, and that there's a different way, and just bring light into those beings, knowing that strength doesn't come from brute force. Strength comes from aligning with your truth and acting from your God Source connection. And the true divine masculine supports the feminine. So it protects and supports the feminine, and not by violence and brute force, but by holding loving space and sort of getting behind. So we forgive that out of the masculine and out of the toxic mothering and out of those codependencies of the past and the slavery matrix, so that we can awaken new ways of existing, and so that we can clear these old programs. Evie's big snore in there. She's clearing for the animal kingdom, because it's good for the animal kingdom to come into an alignment as well, even though they're showing like some gangsters, the gods were showing me some gangsters were actually caretakers of animals, loved animals, and then at the same time some didn't. So just kind of holding that gentle love and peace and presence, but clearing it. It's time to let it go. Let it go, let it go. It's not what we thought it was. It was an illusion and a delusion, and it wasn't even real. The dark triangle is toxic as fuck, and it's time to let it go. And it's time to remember that we're a circle where everybody's got a role to play and everybody matters. And we don't use people for money. We don't hurt people for money. Selling drugs hurts people for money. Creating drugs hurts people for money, you know. Selling weapons hurts people for money. Selling bodies, you know, is disgusting. It's the height of disgusting. And it's wrong. And we're saying no. Strong Mother is saying no. We're not doing that anymore. We're done. And if that's a no, what's a yes? Right? There's ways for us to all find joy and happiness here without doing it that way. We need to create it together and put our brilliant minds together and make free will choices from our own cores and use those choices to access the novel, the new modes of functioning, new ways of existing, the golden pathway. And the golden pathway means it's a pure pathway. So God, please help us with that. And if we have this in our ancestral lineages, please clear it from our mind, body, spirits, and souls. Please clear it from our bones and our ligaments and our tissue and our cells and our brains and our patterns and our modes of functioning and our ways of existing. Please clear it, and clear it some more. And we give so much gratitude and thankfulness to the helper beings and helper frequencies that are here with us, helping us, loving us, nourishing us, guiding us, reminding us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. And we know you're doing the best you can, and we're doing the best we can, and we're working together to create a golden era for all of us. So let's do this. This is the time period for it. It's been foreseen for hundreds, if not thousands of years that this was coming, that this was the time that we got free. So let's get free. Let's do it. Let's do this. So we clear, cleanse, and heal all of that now through all quantum fields of existence, and we're open to receive for best and highest well-being. With the most ultimate of love and gratitude, I choose this. So I choose this and breathe. So Evie's already shifting. I can hear her burping. That's actually one thing people do. You'll see me sometimes even do it when I'm doing healings and clearings. There goes Evie in the background. We move that air out of our bellies. Burping, crying, yawning, sweating, tearing, hiccups sometimes. If we're triggering the vagus nerve, which we're just going to ask for right now, and I know we haven't cleared the energies, but just trigger our vagus nerve now, because why not? Because we're talking about it. Ooh. Yeah, we'll get a relaxation of the body or a rush of warmth. That's another thing that can happen when we're doing clearings and healings. So Source God Mother, please immediately heal our systems, upgrade, evolute our systems for best and highest well-being of the systems within us and the systems around us, including those frequencies of our feet. And as you do it for us, do it for as far out as our heart frequencies can go, as far as we can reach the love that we are pumping through this human being. By getting into an alignment and loving ourselves first into wholeness, and secondarily loving this universe of which we're all a part. We're all a family of one. So please upgrade those frequencies of our feet so that as we ground down into the insides of our feet, we have all of the knowledge, information, wisdom, and comfort that we need to access that 0 point of reference, that sacred heart, that nucleus, that center of self. That God source connection, the soul connection, the healing center. Please help us to access that with ease and grace as we slow down. Help us to ground ourselves into our feet and then immediately access that part of ourselves so that we can slow down into ourselves and make conscious choices. and we clear those subtle programs fully and completely. And we ask that you root us from our red chakra all the way down through our hips and our legs, our knees, our feet, our toes, down 2 feet below us and into our Earth star or our universal star and into this form realm. So pull that energy all the way down to the feet, and from the feet all the way up to 2 feet above us to our soul star, so that we're circulating that energy all throughout our being, and allow us to complete the circle, circulate, right? Continue to move, change, shift, and clear those energies from our mind, body, spirits, and souls, and share those frequencies with the cells around us, you know, with the atoms around us, with nature, all of nature, which is our family and which we're embedded within. Please help us to share life force frequency, essences, knowledge, wisdom, and fractalize that through our mind, body, spirits, and souls. We clear, cleanse, and heal all of that now through all quantum fields, and we're opening to receive for best and the highest well-being. With love and gratitude, I choose this. So I choose this and breathe. And just intending a good etheric breath. So pulling in energy from the ethers, pure energy that's not being used by any living being. And if we want to do prayers out for anyone, if you want to send some of that etheric light to anyone that's suffering or, you know, going through something in this time period, again, just intend that they receive this next etheric breath. So here we go. And if you're feeling lightheaded, God, please ground me to my feet now, to the insides of my feet. And please trigger my vagus nerve. Yeah. All right. So I know that was a lot of information. I know that took over an hour to pull that information in, but this is how much information is coming in this time period. And I'm really threading together lots of healings into the present healings. And so I hope that that's clear. It's really hard to bring words to the information that's coming in because it comes in packages, and I'm using words, stories to impart the frequencies to all of you. So let me know, how did you receive this? What kind of information, knowledge, and wisdom came into you? Have you been noticing the electrical impulses that are coming through our bodies at this time? Have you been noticing the pressure? Have you been having the headaches and the migraines in the top of the head or teeth, or what are you noticing? How did you take this information? Are you getting similar information? Anything that you want to share with the community, please share below. If there's anything I touched on that you would like to hear more of, let me know below. And share this information to anyone else that you think needs it, and subscribe if you want more of this information into the future. And it also helps me to grow my channel, and it helps the right people to get access to it. So share, subscribe. And I hope each of you find the peace that you're looking for. May we all find the peace that we're looking for. May we all heal well. Practice. Practice makes growth. Not perfect. There is no perfection. Practice makes growth. So may we all grow in a good way. And lots of love for me. Until next time. Take care.